say, oh, I want to run a dirty business, you're implying it.
No, I don't. Advocating that the government shouldn't have the authority to make people pay excessive regulation does not mean I want to run a dirty food truck. In your own video, you even go on to tell me that I should just do it and ignore the government. The tamale lady does it. I mean, you talk about I'm not the one calling the cops on the tamale lady or selling fruit on the sidewalk. Neither am I, Kuya. I don't think the police should have the authority to intervene in this. Like, the shining stupidity is you actually believe in free market principles. You actually believe that people should have the right to work for profit. You tell me that I should just go ahead and start the food truck. What's gonna happen? What am I afraid of? And then you mock me for not wanting to be fined by the state because I didn't get the inspection done the first time? Yes, that's the exact same thing I am trying to tell you. You are making my point for me. Why should the government be able to shut down an old lady's tamale truck? Let her do her business.
Right? Because you want to take away regulations, you want to take away inspections because they are very expensive.
Did I say take them away? No, I criticize them for being expensive to the point that working class individuals can't afford them. Not once in your entire video series did you say anything about reducing the cost of living for working class people. I don't know where Marxists get this idea that they are the champions of the working class when they can't even agree with libertarians on cutting taxes for the working class. Maybe we should cut the cost and the fees of starting a business so that people living paycheck to paycheck can afford to do it. I said this in the very video you are responding to, but like always, you do not pay attention.
How you're complaining about all of this so-called regulations, that yes, they are set up by big businesses.
Meaning that these companies do not rule by themselves. They use the government to do their dirty work. They bribe the government to do their dirty work. And your solution is to give the government more power so that they can regulate the companies that are designing the regulations to stifle competition. Now, on the surface, this seems like a classic case of communists and libertarians going back and forth arguing what came first, the chicken or the egg. But here's the thing, eggs existed before chickens. That's scientifically proven. And just like hard data shows that one came before the other, the government existed before there was the business class that you speak of. In the ancient times, the ruling class were the business class. The difference is these corporations don't have the authority to make me buy their crap. The government takes my money whether I like it or not. And even if I disapprove with what they're doing with it, I still have to pay. I don't get a choice.
A certain degree of regulation, if we let every business do whatever they want, again, what we end up with? Pollution.
Again, pollution is not unique to capitalism, and in fact, Marxism has a much worse track record when it comes to pollution. I know you're still playing this no true Scotsman fallacy with the CCP. Sorry, they are the Chinese Communist Party. They are representing communism. The foundation of their beliefs is communism. The only evidence you have to say that it is capitalism is that they have manufacturing and that they have markets, that they are selling for profit. The government is making the majority of the profit off of those sales. Manufacturing has absolutely nothing to do with capitalism. The purpose of communism is to make a society in which workers own the means of production, manufacturing. The manufacturing, the profits, are all collectively owned by the state. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not, the CCP are communists in name and in practice. And that still hasn't even touched on the USSR's track record of pollution. The Chernobyl meltdown, one of the worst nuclear power plant disasters in human history, happened on the USSR's watch. The USSR, by direct order of Joseph Stalin, completely drained the Aral Sea in an attempt to create farmland to grow cotton, which didn't work. All of these things were the result of collectivization under a communist state. I know communism in theory is supposed to be stateless, but reality check, communism doesn't work.
I think you are not really a student of history. If you were, you would understand why the EPA was created.
I know the EPA is completely useless and didn't prevent anything from happening in East Palestine, Ohio. It didn't prevent the BP oil spill either. It's a useless organization that does little more than generate revenue for the state. And I noticed that people in your comments actually think defending the FDA is a flex. You mean the backbone of systemic racism? The same FDA that still classifies marijuana as a Schedule 1 narcotic? The same FDA that's disproportionately been used to target Black and Latino communities for victimless crimes? Good job. Keep defending the FDA. You can keep it. I don't want it.
You should look into life in the United States and how food was manufactured prior to 1911, 1910.
Most people grew their own food. Most people lived in small farming communities. And if you were actually the student of history you think you are, you would have known that industrial farming wasn't even made possible until around the 1910s, 1920s. This is Fritz Harper. He is the very reason industrial farming is possible. He discovered how to synthesize nitrogen out of the atmosphere and turn it into liquid ammonia, thus revolutionizing mainstream farming that we know today. Clearly, the only person who is not a student of history in this conversation is you, my good sir. And if all these regulations were doing such a good job in keeping people healthy, how come obesity rates are through the roof? Even people who live paycheck to paycheck are obese right now. The quality of food has gotten significantly worse since the 1900s. People's access to healthy, whole foods has become more and more expensive and more restricted. Eating healthy has become a luxury. So not only do you not understand history, you also don't seem to understand biology either.
I hope you're right and Milei takes Argentina out of misery, but I doubt it. Why? He just devalued the Argentinian peso.
The Argentinian peso was already declining for years. You're complaining about being paid in eggs and bread and milk. That's worth more than the pesos! You need a truckload of Argentinian pesos to get a loaf of bread at this point. In that situation, I think getting paid in food is much more preferable. Everybody needs to eat, and what I don't eat, I can sell to my neighbors for a profit. Welcome to capitalism, Kuyan! If food is more valuable than actual currency, I'd rather have the food, and I can sell what I don't eat for profit and use that to pay my bills. More importantly, you're glossing over the fact that Javier Milei did something else. He allowed US dollars to be exchanged on the open market in Argentina. And US dollars are a lot more valuable than the Argentinian peso. So yeah, please keep leaving out key details to make your opponents look bad. After 5 videos, you have made it very clear that is the only tactic you have in your arsenal.
We don't believe that giving more power to the powerful is going to be the answer.
You 100% do believe that. Throughout this entire video, you have defended excessive taxation, excessive regulations, and excessive intervention into the individual's right to govern themselves. You have even taunted me because I don't want to be fined for running an unlicensed food truck. In your own words, you have acknowledged that corporations do not rule directly, but they rule through coercing the government to do things that they wouldn't do themselves or can't do themselves. And your solution to this is to give the government more power. You absolutely believe in giving more power to the already powerful.
You will become the next McDonald's.
Where did I say anything of the sort? McDonald's sucks. I'm not trying to get rich. I'm just trying to earn a living and work for myself.
So instead of voting for a candidate in your city that may change things, you just bitch and complain.
This was probably the stupidest assumption you made about me thus far, and you've made a lot of dumb ones at that. I am the chair of the social media committee for the East Baton Rouge Parish Libertarian Party, and I will be running for Metro Council in 2024 for Metro District 12. I am involved in actively trying to change the system, campaigning for libertarian candidates in my own backyard. I will be running as a libertarian to represent the district I live in. So remember, boys and girls, when you assume things, you just make an ass out of you, not me. Are you gonna actually engage with what I say this time?